There is power in personal stories. It connects us, it empowers us, and it holds us accountable. It creates understanding and expands our perspective. This is Big in the Community with Jonathan James at the Kalamazoo Promise, a podcast aimed to highlight local leaders, collaborators, and innovators in the greater Kalamazoo community. All right, welcome back to another episode of Big in the Community. We are here with an amazing guest, a coworker, and you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hello, everyone. My name is Navia Walker. I am a Promise alum. I am a Kalamazoo Promise graduate, and now I am a Kalamazoo Promise employee. It's good to be here.
Thanks for being here. I'm going to start us off with a quote. Almost skipped it. Education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. That's Nelson Mandela. So, Navia, you're from Kalamazoo.
Correct.
Clearly. Promise Scholar. And now, what do you do here at the Promise now? Tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, so I work for the Kalamazoo Promise for the Elevate program as a Promise Guide. So the Elevate program is... We've been saying it's a 2 to 3 year program, but now moving forward, we're just going to clarify that it's a 3-year program, basically, where we provide, as the guides, wraparound support to Promise eligible scholars. So whatever that looks like along their post-secondary journeys, not everyone's journey is linear. Not everyone necessarily wants to go to college, but with the Promise, you have so many different options of training programs and things like that. So certificates and things like that. So Elevate is a program to give scholars an opportunity to engage with their Promise and engage with one-on-one tailored support in whatever way they need at the time of their journey.
That's awesome. So how did you get here? What's your academic, your career journey? I know you went to Western. Go Broncos.
Go Broncos,
We're
yeah.
all Broncos in here. You want to tell us a little bit about it and how you chose your field too?
Yeah, so I graduated from Kalamazoo Central in 2016. Go Giants.
Go Giants.
And the truth is that I only applied to one college. And I think at the time I wasn't the most confident in my grades, and I didn't really think that I'd get accepted anywhere. And so I said, you know what, Western is close to home. Like, I can kind of take a year to get acclimated, get situated, see if I even feel like college is for me and is my vibe, if you will. And so I applied to Western. I got accepted, and it's funny. I planned on originally doing a year at Western and then transferring to Michigan State. I've got a lot of Spartans in the Walker family, and so I planned to do that. But then within my first year, I made some friends, and I made friends that lived in the dorms, and I went to sporting events. I went to hockey games, and I was like, you know what? This isn't all that bad. Like, I actually kind of like it here. So I decided to stay, and I finished off my bachelor's degree at Western. And when I was in my senior year, I was going through some life things, some pretty big life transitions, and I kind of fell off the wagon, if you will. And so I ended up doing a 5th year of undergrad, which is fine. I mean, everyone's journey looks different, and I was okay with that because I needed to take time with what was going on in my life to kind of get myself right and process and stuff. So, in what was, I guess, technically my senior year or my 5th year, I was doing an internship, and I was like, I have no idea what I'm going to do next. I have no idea. And so I was like, I have actually gotten pretty good at school and have figured out how to do it, and which is not a skill that I had when I graduated high school. It took a lot for me to even go to college in the first place. So to feel that at the end of my undergrad was like, you know what? I don't feel like I'm ready to work and to do like a big girl job out there in the big people world. So I'm just going to apply to a master's program and see what happens. And it'll give me something to do for the next couple of years. And so that's truthfully how I ended up applying for the master's, was because I felt like I had no other options and I didn't know what to do. So I applied for the counselor education master's program at Western. I knew I wanted to just stay at Western and I didn't want to uproot my life or anything like that. And I was accepted to the program. I bawled my eyes out. I was so, so happy because I've always been passionate about just being a listening ear to people. And I feel like every counselor probably says that they were the counselor of their friend group. And so that's how they ended up where they are in the field. And so that's genuinely how I felt, though. And so I knew that counseling would be a good route for me. And 3 years later, some of the hardest years of my life, easily the hardest thing I've ever done, I now have my master's in counselor education. So happy to be done with it and happy to now carry that forward, all the knowledge I have from that and the work that I do now.
That's awesome. So how would you say your counseling background prepared you for, working with students or scholars who are facing systemic barriers, need an ear to listen to? How has that prepared you?
Yeah, that's a good question. I feel like the biggest thing that I learned in the master's program, especially once it got to the point of doing internship and actually doing counseling with real people, I learned that in that work, you can't turn anyone away. Anyone that walks through that door, it's your responsibility to help them through whatever challenges that they're going through. And so learning that and then actually having to put it into practice, some of the clients that I worked with, there's probably no chance we would have been, friends on the outside of that room, but in the room, we had built really, really interesting and good relationships, which just goes to show that, like, if you give people a chance and you open your mind and open your heart to people, there's a lot that you can learn from that and take away from that. Things that you would never know from people that you would never expect. And so in the work that I'm doing now, it's like there is nothing that a scholar could tell me that would turn me away or make me feel like I don't have something to learn from this person or that they don't have something to offer me. So that's huge. And yeah, it's really beneficial in the work that I do with them.
I'm taking notes over here. You dropping some gems. When we talk about walking alongside a student, what does that look like in practice? And could you maybe give us an example of a time that you did that?
Yeah, I think walking alongside a scholar, so I'll start by kind of explaining another thing that I learned throughout my master's program was I had this idea about counseling that was like the counselor somehow is this magical, all-knowing being that knows all the answers and all the solutions, and they know how to make other people's lives better. They've just got it. I don't know what they learn in school, but they've got it. And when I got into the program and once I got to internship, every member of faculty said, that couldn't be further from the truth. You don't know these people. These people are strangers to you. And your client knows themselves and what's best for them more than anyone else is going to, more than you are as the counselor. And so you need to go in the room and you just need to give them the space to say, to do, to express, to process, to reflect. And so when I think of walking alongside scholars in the work that I do now, it's not so much that I have the answers for them. Sure, if they got questions about their promise, yeah, I might be able to answer those questions. But as far as their journey and what's right for them and what's not right for them, I don't have those answers. I have no idea. But my job is to create the space for them to be able to explore that and to figure that out and to try and maybe sometimes to fail, because there is power and knowledge in doing something and it not working out or realizing that you don't like it. So my job is simply to cultivate a space of openness and open-mindedness and lack of judgment. And I feel like that's what I do in my work.
Mm. That's some deep stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I'm getting counseled right now. I also thought the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
I thought, okay, if I'm going to therapy
Mm-hmm.
and I'm meeting with somebody, they're going to fix all my problems.
Yep.
They're going to have the answers. And they gave me some suggestions
Mm-hmm.
on things to do, but then I turned around and did those, didn't exactly work out.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't know where I'm going with this, but I had that inclination that, okay, this person just has it all figured out and they're going to know exactly what I need to do.
Yep.
And when it wasn't exactly, okay, this is what you're going to do and it's going to work out. And then I had to go back and say, okay, this didn't work out. I was like, should I be in this? Should I be doing therapy? And maybe question it.
Yeah.
What would you say to that?
Ooh, I think that, okay, referring back to some things that I learned in the program too, is like when trying to find the balance of / trying to identify the right opportunities and moments to push your client and challenge your client. It's not always comfortable. In fact, oftentimes it's really uncomfortable to have to sit across from your client and say, well, listen, this is what you said. This is what you told me your goals are. And if that's no longer your goals or if they've changed, we can talk about that. But if these are still your goals, like, yeah, this is uncomfortable, or have you really thought about this, or have you really tried this? And so to your point, when things don't, it almost feels like they're not working, like the therapist has given you something, a tool or an exercise or something, and you feel like it doesn't work. I think that really what therapy is, with the behind the scenes knowledge that I have, it really is a working relationship between the therapist and the client. And so I think that sometimes as the client, because I've also been on the other side where I've been a therapist, but I've been the client before. It sometimes can feel like there's almost like a power dynamic, but a good therapist will really negate that and will tell you that it's not true. You can tell me, please tell me, I want you to be honest. Like, if you don't like this, or if something I said has bothered you, like, just let me know. And so as the client, I think that being able to advocate for yourself in the room and in the space, because it is your time, you're paying for it. So to be able to say, I've given this my best effort, I just don't feel like I'm connecting with this. It's not working. I don't really know why, but is there something else that we could try? Is there something else? Do you have any other ideas? And, a good therapist will go back to the drawing board with you and figure out what didn't work. What didn't you like about this? Well, did anything work from this strategy? Did you connect with anything at all or no? And, kind of go from there.
Okay. Sorry for the impromptu.
No, that's okay.
Go into left field or something. How has it been? You mentioned a big girl job. How has it grown you working here at the Promise as a Promise guide?
So actually, fun fact for anyone who's listening, tomorrow is actually my year anniversary of being here. Yeah, super exciting. I would say it's so, I'm going to try to make this make sense. So I feel like sometimes growth is hard to recognize that it's even happening in the moment. But then once you have moved on to the next thing, or maybe you're just a little bit further into it, you can kind of have that hindsight of like, oh, so I have been doing all of these things, and like I have grown in these ways and shown up for myself in these ways. And so I feel like when I was done with my master's program, I had also been working as a graduate assistant, and I had been doing that for 2 years, and I felt like by the time I was done with my graduate assistantship, I had felt at peace and I felt like I was ready for the next challenge. And so now that I'm here at the Promise, I've been here almost a year now, it's like I still feel like there's still room to grow in the shoes that I'm wearing in this role. Like, I feel like I've definitely like gotten more comfortable and I understand what I'm doing. But as far as like how much I've grown, I feel like I'm still very much in the thick of it. I'm still in the process. And I think that one thing I can say is I feel like I'm becoming like more confident in my voice and in the things that I know. I've got a lot of academic, background and education with working with people, but then to be doing it is a completely different thing. And so I feel just more confident in my ability to do that and to actually build strong relationships with scholars in a way that is different than I was doing with therapy clients, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. So next question.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to the Black Boys and Men Symposium this week, right?
I am not.
You're not.
Unfortunately, no, I'm not. I know.
This ruins my question.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. So anyway, for people listening, it's a conference that we go to that talks about the hardships, the systemic barriers, the different things that Black boys and men face, K through 12 education, post-secondary, all that. And it can be a tough day. Like, it's a 3-day conference. The second day, pretty much like halfway through the day, I just had to take a second because it's just like, it's, I'm trying to explain it. It's like session after session after session of it's hard being Black. You have to be strong.
Yep.
You got to be resilient. It's hard being Black. It's hard being a man. It's hard being a Black man.
Yep.
For hours.
Yep.
And it's draining. But this goes into the question of when you're working with students, what has this experience taught you about resilience, but also healing?
When you say this experience, are you talking about
like working here?
Working here.
Yeah. Or your academic experience too. Or life experience.
Yeah. So what has it taught me about resilience and what
healing?
Else? And healing. Ooh, yeah, that's a really good question. I feel like when I was facing some of my big life transitions at the end of my undergrad experience, I dealt with loss for basically the first time in a close way, and I had never faced anything like that before, and it really made me lose all sense of direction and purpose and what am I even doing this for? Why am I doing school? What is this for? And so I ended up just, really falling off the wagon with school and everything like that. And then I basically, probably like 6 months later, I had a real conversation, a real hard conversation with myself in the mirror. Like, so I came all this way and now I'm just going to stop. Like, this is where my journey ends. And so I had to make a decision to start doing my journey for me. And so losing someone close to me, as hard as that was, it forced me to make a choice to do it for myself, which was hard. And so through that loss, I experienced a lot of, like I said, lack of purpose and lack of direction, but it also ended up steering me, I feel like, in a direction that I needed to go. And so that's what I'd say about the healing part, resilience. I think the first thing that comes to my mind is my master's program. It was seriously the hardest thing that I've done up until this point. And there were times, at least twice throughout the program that, and I've only told a handful of people this, but that I wanted to drop out. Like, I was like, this is unsustainable. This is just not good. Like, I hate this, if I'm being honest. But I thought to myself, like, okay, I did this in the first place because I didn't know what I was going to do. So now I'm a year in, I'm going to quit. Now what am I going to do now? I have no idea what that would mean. So through the difficulty, through the unknown, I stuck through it and I continued to choose myself. And my mental health really took a tank in the last year of my program just because things were really ramping up. I was also planning a wedding. I started the job here. I was doing an internship. I was still in school. So there was a lot going on. But I really realized through the last probably 5 years of my life that it is so true that if you don't care and if you don't show up for you, unfortunately, no one else is going to. And so every day, I swear, I'm making an active choice to choose me and to choose my journey because it's important. And I would relay that message to any scholar or anyone who's listening. Like, your journey is important and you should choose you.
Thank you. I'm sorry I brought that stuff up.
No, it's totally okay. It's totally okay.
That's really good stuff. Because I know, like, a lot of our scholars, being resilient, unfortunately, like, is something you have to do. And, like, I wish it could be easier. Like, I feel bad telling scholars or, like, different people in my life, you got to toughen up. Like, not toughen up, but, like, you just have to overcome this. And I feel like for certain populations, just you have to be more resilient than other people.
Right.
And it's, like, a sad truth, but it's, I don't know. So, like, these next few days when I'm at that conference, I'm just going to be like, all right, it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
But anyway, we'll change the subject for a second. So if you could change one thing about the greater Kalamazoo community, what would it be?
Oh, wow.
And nothing will get in the way, like not money, politics, anything.
The first things that come to my mind are like taking care of the housing crisis, taking care of food insecurity. I mean, in the work that we do with scholars, like, that is a very, very real and devastating and scary reality. Is like, yes, there is this amazing gift for Kalamazoo Promise eligible scholars to use, and the way life just shows up in lives, it's not always accessible and it's not always easy. And so first things first, we've got to take care of the housing. We've got to take care of the food situation. And I'm sure transportation, public transportation, I mean, there's probably so many other things that I'm missing, but those are the big three, if you will, that come to mind. Just because in the work that I do and in the relationships I've built with scholars, it is so clear that, and not everyone struggles with those things, but it's real and it's unavoidable. How I think about, like, Maslow's hierarchy of needs, like, if your absolute baseline basic level needs are not being met, how are you supposed to reach full actualization, your fullest potential, when you haven't eaten in 2 days, you haven't slept in a bed in a week? Like, how are you supposed to do that? How can anyone expect that of you? So that's my big three. That's my answer.
Especially for kids.
100%.
That's the thing. I when we talk about that stuff, it's like, if you can't even have a place to do your homework, if the lights aren't on, you know, if it's cold, it gets cold here, all those different things.
Yeah.
It's getting kind of heavy.
It low-key is. Yeah, it low-key is.
How important is it to have representation and mentorship for Promise scholars?
I would say it's incredibly important, as all of us in this room can probably imagine. I mean, I remember when I was serving as a graduate assistant at Western Michigan University, and I was the graduate assistant for the Kalamazoo Promise Scholars Program there. And we would have some cross collaboration with the flagship office here, every so often. And I remember like, oh, I went to high school with that person. Like, okay, like that. So that means that I could probably work at the Promise someday, And yeah, I think that to have this very, very nice building and to have people who have worked in KPS, who have gone through KPS, who are parents of kids in KPS, whatever the case may be, like it really just like scholars should be able to like it almost be like a mirror, like they can come here and they can see themselves or someone who looks familiar to them or like I can't. Yeah, I think that's just the way that I would answer that. Is it's incredibly important to see people who are familiar, who I think I know them from school or like whatever, and to be able to everyone have their own journey and to it be different, and not everyone just went to college for 4 years and went to the best school and they lived in the dorm and they did all this and they had all the scholarships. Like I said, I mean, and I'm sure that there are journeys out there that look way different than mine and way more adversity and way more challenges. But I didn't complete college in 5 years. I almost dropped out of college. When I arguably had a lot of, support behind me and had everything I needed to be successful. And it still almost wasn't enough for me, So it's incredibly important. And I'm happy to be surrounded by so many Promise scholars and, just people in the loop.
Yeah, it even like your story helps. Like when you see somebody, a lot of times people see us and just think like, oh, those, like if you see somebody in a suit, you might think a certain thing about them.
Yep.
Like, oh, they must be educated or they have money or they have this. But then when we break down into these stories of like, I almost dropped out. I failed my first class at Western, had a 0-point GPA because it was the only class I took. When you hear stuff like that, it's kind of like, oh, okay, it's not so bad. Like, maybe I could still do this.
100%.
And I feel like a lot of times we don't get those stories or we don't get a chance to meet those people who are in the higher positions that we think like, oh, I can meet with that person. I can shadow a CEO of some company. It makes it a lot more attainable.
Yeah, 100%.
Looking back, is a cheesy question, but what do you think your younger self would say seeing you now?
What would my younger self would be? Just shook, shocked, confused, happy. Like I said, when I was in high school, like I truly cared about two things and two things only. Number one, soccer. Number two, my friends. Okay, the academics didn't even make the list, I fear. And so my younger self would be like, wait, you went to college, you actually finished it, and then you decided, oh yeah, I should do more school, and then you got a master's. My younger self would be so proud. I joke and say that she'd be shook and she would be shocked because she would be, but she would also be so proud of me. And regardless of everything that I've gone through on my journey, to have still made it and to made it through the other side and to still be doing better than I could have ever imagined I'm doing. Yeah, she'd probably shed a tear or two. Yeah.
Oh, this is great. This is good stuff. Okay, you ready for another one? Another big question. All right, so
I think so.
Sorry. What is community healing and student success look like to you? Sorry, I can't read today. And then how do we build more inclusive and supportive systems?
Oh, wow. I'm going to answer this to the best of my ability. Going back to kind of what I talked about earlier with my experience, what I learned in counseling of how you can't turn anyone away no matter what their race, religion, political, any of that, none of that matters. You can't turn anyone away. And I think that as far as the community healing piece, like if everyone was more willing to have conversations and to just be in the same room as other people and give people the space to have their voices be heard, I think we could go so far with that alone, because half the battle is like you can't even get people to sit down and talk to each other and have a conversation. And so that's definitely the first piece. Can you refresh my memory of the rest of the question?
Yes. So what does community healing and student success look like to you? And then how do we build more inclusive and supportive systems?
I'm just going to say for the building better systems, that's just so hard. I think it just the question is so big and so deep, and it's really going to take everyone coming to the table and everyone's perspective, differing perspectives being heard, not only heard, but also valued and respected and genuinely considered. And I think for the student success piece, again, everyone's journey is different. So simply making room for those differences and opening your mind and your heart to something that may not be comfortable, but is, I don't know, it's just good. The more that we come together, the more that we can talk and be open and just be open-minded, the better. So I think for the student success piece, it's just creating that space and allowing students to just be who they are and show up as their most authentic self. And us doing that too, because when we aren't doing that, I mean, you can sense when someone's like, are you even being real right now? Is this who you actually are? Like, this feels a little weird. So I think when we are able to do that, our scholars are able to do that as well.
That's a good answer.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
I was nervous.
No, there's no like right or wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, there are wrong ones, but there's everybody has an opinion on like how do we fix things.
Yeah.
But there isn't necessarily like this is the way to do it.
Right.
Because every community, every like place is different, and no one size fits all fixes these sort of problems that are very complex.
For sure.
What are the requirements? Like, how do I know if I'm a good fit for Elevate?
Yeah, so I would say a scholar who, one, has identified that, yes, I could actively use some additional support, some guidance, just someone to kind of walk alongside my journey and kind of help me navigate some of these systems that maybe are just unfamiliar or are challenging or difficult, whatever the case may be. So you've identified you need some additional support. Maybe you've identified that you would really just benefit from some community with other Promise scholars. And some kind of hard-hitting things, you need to still have at least 2 years of Promise eligibility left or 50 credits. And yeah, I would say the biggest thing that we want scholars to know about this program is like I touched on earlier, you know yourself and your journey and what's best for you better than myself or my colleague will ever know. And so this program is really a commitment that the scholar is making. Like you are looking to engage not only with your Promise scholarship, but with your Promise guide, which would be myself or my colleague. And you know, we get it. Life can be busy. Life can happen. School, family, all of that. But we really want scholars to apply to this program if they are actively wanting to be engaged, not someone that we can't track down for, 3-4 months. Someone who is really wanting to like participate with this and come up with goals together with us and, have us hold them to those goals and check in on them and stuff like that. So someone who's ready to be active with the program and with their Promise, I would say. But I will say, not to deter anyone who is working through some things, is working through trying to get stable, because we are still very much open to that. Just that your goal is you would ultimately like to start using your Promise, or if you already are using your Promise.
Okay. Cool. What are some of your favorite things about Kalamazoo?
Oh, wow. The older I've gotten, I would say that when I was younger, I can't wait to leave Kalamazoo. I grew up here, la. And now I'm older and I'm like, I love it here. I really, really do. This place is home. And for me, it's a really nice balance between, like, it's obviously nowhere near like a small city, but it's obviously not like New York City. So the fact that it kind of strikes a balance, I love that, where I can be downtown or I could be, 10 minutes outside and it feels like I'm in a completely different situation. I love being close to the water. I feel like you go 45 minutes, an hour or so in any direction, you can be by water. I love that. And I think that being in my role now at the Promise, I realize just how much is actually out here, just trying to help people. And I just feel really happy and honored to be a part of that in the work that I do.
I felt the same way when I was younger.
Get me out of here.
Yeah, and the producer, same thing. But now it's kind of like, well, there's some good stuff here.
There really is, yeah.
Do you have any questions for us? I say us because the producer will get on the mic too.
Ooh, I don't know that this question really makes any sense, but who is like your dream podcast guest? Like anyone, doesn't have to be a local community person, anyone. That's
a big question.
See, welcome to the hot seat.
I would. Can I have two answers?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I would say somebody just like extremely popular. Like, I don't know. I want to say Kevin Hart, but not everybody likes Kevin Hart.
But I was not expecting you to say that.
I would have some fun talking to Kevin Hart.
Y'all be in here cracking up.
Barack Obama.
Thank you.
Is a good answer. I want to say no,
anyone,
anybody. I want to say, I don't know, somebody that like I look up to. Like I did a foundations of ethical leadership, and I had to pick someone that I wanted to like model after.
Yeah,
and it was Marie Edelman Wright, and she's like, I don't know, she's very big in politics, and she helped form the, what's it called? It's like the Children's Justice something. I can't remember right now, but like every one of her like foundational things, or like her ethics, was just like, I want to do that. I want to be like the same way and then respond in the same way every single time.
Right.
I think it would be really cool to interview somebody like that.
Yeah.
Where it's like, you're kind of my role model. And how did you get to where you were? And all that. Like, I researched it, but to like have a conversation.
Yeah.
And actually hear it firsthand.
Oh, yeah.
Completely different experience.
100%.
Yeah.
Cool. I can't think of another question. That one felt like a big deal. That felt like a big question.
It was. Emphasis on big.
Right.
Is there anything we haven't talked about that you want to talk about?
No, I don't think so. This has been really, really nice. I appreciate you guys having me on.
Yeah, thank you for being here. I'm going to close this out with some encouragement.
Okay.
All right. So you've come full circle, but your story is still unfolding, and there's so much more to write.
I love that. Thank you so much.
Of course. Thank you.